Hello and welcome to Fox News. Earlier this month, North Korea fired 2 short-range projectiles. The important thing to note here is that projectiles are not missiles. Trump has tweeted that he isn't bothered by the recent launches, demonstrating ease and trust in his negotiations with Kim Jong-un, and rightly so. As of this day, there still have been no nuclear tests in the past 2 years, a huge victory for the president as chief diplomat. The U.S. continues to exercise control in our relation with North Korea. It was recently released that the U.S. seized a sanctions-busting cargo ship illicitly transporting coal and machinery in April of last year. With the capture of this significant player in North Korea's scheme, the U.S. effectively enforces denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. U.S. Attorney Geoffrey Berman said that the U.S. is willing and able to deploy the full array of law enforcement tools to detect, deter, and prosecute North Korea's deceptive attempts to evade sanctions. One thing's for sure, the U.S. has and will continue to keep North Korea in check.
Good morning and welcome to another broadcast from MSNBC. Tensions between North Korea and the United States have continued to escalate despite repeated meetings between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. 2020 Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden has called out Trump on his actions, noting that the president has continued to ease sanctions on the isolated country while gaining only false promise in return. The North Korean media have lashed back against Biden, calling him an imbecile for prodding at their supreme leader. North Korea has continued missile testing whilst Trump has tweeted that he isn't bothered by the recent launches. A few weeks ago, intelligence leaked that a North Korean cargo ship was seized by the United States last year for violating sanctions. This shows that tensions are on the rise, even in the midst of negotiations between Trump and Kim. They are not progressing efficiently enough, and we fear that it may not improve.
Greetings and welcome. This is The Late Show with Pierre Lee, and this is your host, Pierre Lee, starring Pierre Lee. Usually a white guy's the host, but we didn't have the budget. Today I'm gonna make fun of Trump because you guys are all liberal and laugh at anything I say. Trump is bad. God, I'm so funny. Recently, i.e. last year, the US took North Korea's ship, which kind of got them mad because they lost a quarter of their economy. Even more recently, North Korea launched what they consider short-range projectiles. I think it's full-blown nuclear missiles capable of reaching the intercontinental US. Tensions have risen since the last summit in Vietnam last February, since it left both nations without compromise on denuclearization. North Korea doesn't want to be left on red. So they sent some missiles to check if the US isn't ghosting them. However, the US doesn't want to start a toxic relationship and wants to move on. Meanwhile, Trump isn't bothered by these missile tests since he loves them nukes and continues to try and negotiate. This has been your host, Pierre Lee, on The Late Show with Pierre Lee, starring Pierre Lee.
KBS에서 나영입니다. 오늘 토요일 아침 동쪽에서 북한이 여러 개 폭탄을 발사했습니다. 저희가 아는 거는 70까지 200km를 쏜 것 같은데 저희가 아직도 더 알아보고 있으니 저희 군인들이 아직도 북한이 더 발사했는지 할 수 있는지 준비하고 있습니다. 서울하고 워싱턴이 같이 일하고 있어서 저희 준비물을 준비하고 있으니까 안심하셔도 되고요. 저희들이 폭탄을 더 검색하고 대화를 해서 이 폭탄을 저희가 해결하겠습니다. 북한이 발사를 한다는 거를 그만한다는 걸 약속을 아직 안 했고요. 그냥 멀리 쏘는 것만 안 하기로 그냥 미국 쪽으로 안 가기로만 말했고 그래서 저희가 북한이 이렇게 짧은 거리를 발사한 거는 저희가 놀랍진 않고요. 평양이 가짜 다큐멘터리를 써서 그 가짜 레지스트레이션 종이를 만들었고요. 한 외국에 다 보낼 수 있게 다 가짜로 했는데 이제는 발견해가지고 이거를 멈추려고 하고 있습니다. 감사합니다.